Sing the whole day long, it's not enough.
Hey fam, what's up, what's up, what's up? This is Robert Anton here, robertanton.com, coming to you your X Factor commentary from a singer. Oh my goodness, let me tell you, tonight they put it all together. 2.5 hour show, but let me tell you, it was exciting from beginning to end for me. I don't know if it was for you, if you saw it, if you didn't, it really was very good. So this was the first live show. There were 17 performers. I am going to try to speed through this as much as I can because it was a long show and I do not want this to be 25 minutes, but Lord knows if it has to be, it just has to be. I hope you will stick with me. Skip through if you need to see the things you want to see, you know, comment as you go along, whatever you got to do. Let's get through this. The judges were actually eliminating this round, so they are taking 12 people, so they eliminated one person from each group and Simon had to eliminate 2. First thing I wrote was Paula was absolutely stunning when she came out. Oh my goodness, she looked so good in her outfit. So did Nicole. The guys looked nice and preppy, you know, had on suits and everything, but Paula just looked gorgeous. And Steve Jones, we finally get to see a lot of him on the stage right now. And some people were on Twitter saying during the performance that, oh, he's so rude, we need to get rid of him. They need a new host and all the different stuff. But I thought that he was just trying to be very professional and trying to move it along. And I also wrote, I said, he's not rude, he's British. So we're going to get right to the performances right now. They had each group go in its turn. So they started out with the boys first. And up first was Astro, Brian. And he did like a jump remix, crisscross thing. And you know what I wrote? I wrote he is so clean and articulate in his rhymes and in his rhythms that I really, really appreciate it. It's very a learned kind of rap. He's not all slurred and everything. He sounded good. He looked good. He brought like a bunch of energy to the top of the show. It was just an amazing performance. He had, again, always a lot of confidence, and I like the dancers and the lighting behind him, and the judges loved it. Next up, Chris Renee did Love Don't Live Here Anymore, Rose Voice, and you know, it's kind of a little bit of a remix, and I wrote he sounds just a little bit better than a rapper trying to sing. So, you know, I would say like in comparison, like maybe Drake, he would sound alike. I thought that he was going to do a lot more rapping, or I thought he could have brought it better in the vocals, but maybe that's where his voice is. If that's where his voice is at this moment, it wasn't that great. He did okay, but like I said, it was just a little better than a rapper trying to sing. And I wanted more of the rap vibe. When he did his little rap, you know, little sing-songy thing, I really enjoyed it. The singing, not so much. The judges were kind of split down the middle with it. Two were like, and 2 were like, and I didn't write down which 2, so you have to check the video for that. Next up, Philip Lomax did I'm a Believer by the Monkees, right? And I just thought it was very Vegas-y, you know, it was kind of cruise ship to me, a cruise ship performance. And his vocal wasn't even, for one, it wasn't far enough forward in the mix, so, you know, that's the producer's fault. But also, it wasn't very good. It just wasn't very good. And so the whole performance together for me was not so great. Simon told LA he failed on this song choice. And I think with this guy, he trying to make him contemporary, I think he would have failed on any song choice. Next up, Marcus Canty did Do You Really Want to Hurt Me, Culture Club, right? And I wrote his voices, his vocals were just stellar. Though the arrangement for me was kind of disjointed, was very disjointed actually, I wrote, and not quite in the pocket, you know, it didn't really have a vibe to it, but he made up for that in spades. I mean, he sang, he had his thing going on, he just sounded great, he was doing a lot of movements, you know, he had a little background going on. I love the street thing that they had going on in the background and the staging. And he was doing like these little moves that kind of were like James Brown, but they weren't over the top, but they were just kind of like reminiscent of James Brown's moves. So I really, really enjoyed this performance. And what they did differently from every other show so far is they went straight to that group, 2 eliminations. They brought all 4 on stage, and LA was told, you know, that he had to eliminate somebody right there. So the first person he sent through safe was Astro. Next he sent through Marcus Canty. Then he sent through Chris Renee, and Philip Lomax went home. No surprise. Next up, we had the groups, and first up was the Stereo Hogs, and they did Try a Little Tenderness. And I thought they were just gonna do like the Otis Redding song, but they also broke into the rap, you know, so they kind of did the Kanye, Jay-Z remix kind of thing, and it was hot, hot, hot. Let me tell you, I wrote, wow, wow. They brought the house down for one. It was excellent. The vocals were great. They had crazy choreography that was just, I mean, I wrote, you know, from the Idol thing, people who know Idol, they were in it to win it. Simon loved them and said that there should be a band in the charts like them. Of course, all the judges thought they were just fabulous, and they were. I wrote down in here the notes while I'm thinking about it. Voting starts next week, and they will be having voting on Twitter also. So they'll have several venues, but they will have voting on Twitter, which I will probably be voting on Twitter. Next up, they had the Brewer Boys, and they did a Rich Girl Faith medley, Hall & Oates and George Michael, right? And I like their clean, I called it a Puritan sound, just very pure, very nice, very down to earth. Both played the guitar, and they had such a nice blend in their vocals and in their playing. You know, the dancers added a little energy to what was going on because they were just sitting kind of, you know, there stagnant, and the dancers were kind of dancing in front and around them. So I really enjoyed that. The judges again were split on them 2 for 2. But I enjoyed it, and I thought it was very nice. Enough for $5 million prize? I don't know, but just very, very laid back and very nice. Next up, Intensity did a medley of Footloose and another song that I don't know. If you do know it, pop it down in the comments. Yeah. Not all their vocals are great. The first girl who started was very shaky, but many of them have great vocals, and their whole sound together is just so wonderful. I really enjoyed it. They're infectious, you know, they're young and they got a bunch of energy, you know, and the choreography was cute and, you know, a lot of different stuff going on, so I really, really enjoyed them. Simon called them the new young Glee. Didn't Glee just start like a few years ago, and now he's already got a young Glee? Yeah, whatever. Alona, she had on a red jacket, just serious vocals. Amazing. I really enjoyed them. Next up, Lakota Rain did Come On Eileen. And I wrote they sounded pretty good and they looked great. They have a lot of potential. They reminded me, their sound on this song in particular reminded me of ABBA. I just don't know why. It was just something about the sound and the song that really, really gave me the flavors of ABBA. I really, really enjoyed them. Immediately, they brought them all back, and Paula had to decide who was going home. First safe was the Stereo Hogs, second safe was Lakota Rain, then Intensity and the Brewer Boys went home. I'm sure you guys are gonna, you're growing, you're young, somebody's gonna pick them up and move them forward. So just congratulations to everybody there. So now we had the over 30s, right? First up was Dexter Haygood, and he did Womanizer, I Kissed a Girl medley, you know, Britney Spears and Katy Perry, right? So I wrote, there's a lot that I like about Dexter, but his vocals are not one. Just for me, all through the competition, his vocals have been the least of the likable things about him. His energy is great. You know, he's crazy. He seems very, you know, on the edge, you know, so just very powerful energy and personality, but the vocals just were not there. I thought the medley was a really good, thought out, put together medley, and he looked good, but it just, altogether the performance just wasn't great. Leroy Bell was up next, 60 years old. The guy looks so wonderful. I hope I look that good when I'm 60, right? He did Nobody Knows by Pink, and you know, he just did a very understated performance, very laid back, very pretty. I love the vocal, and I wrote again, just so laid back. Paula called his voice velvet, which it is, and Simon said that his is one of the best voices in the competition. Stacey Francis was up next, and she did One More Try by George Michael. Stacey takes me to church every single time, but what I really liked about this was she had a lot of control. You could tell that she was coached through this performance. You know, she had a lot of subtlety. She would give it to us and then she would pull it back. She would give it to us and she would pull it back. She would bring it up and then she'd bring it down. I thought it was a wonderful overall performance. It was so much better than her past performances so far on the show, and she just sounded really, really great. Josh Krasick was up next. He did Forever Young by Bob Dylan. And you know, it was a very simple and pure performance. I really, really enjoyed it. I loved the dancers in the background, just brought a nice flavor to it. And he just stood there and sang, very little accompaniment, just beautiful. Simon said it was the best of the night. Of course, here come the eliminations. Somebody had to be eliminated. Stacey Francis was safe first, Josh Krasick was safe next, Leroy Bell was safe, and Dexter Haygood was going home. So far, I was 3 for 3 on Twitter. I kind of like wrote in before they did the actual judging, I wrote in who was going home. And I was 3 for 3 so far, so let's see what happens on the next one. Next up was the girls. All right, Simone Battle did Just Be Good to Me, Shayna Ward. And you know, her rapping upped her value as far as I was concerned in the performance, but the things that I liked, first, the vocals weren't very good. The singing vocals weren't very good. But what I did like is I liked that she was doing the choreography. She looked good. She kind of reminded me of a younger looking Nicole Scherzinger of all people. And LA, okay, when they went to the judges, LA ripped into Simon. At first I thought he was joking, being kind of tongue-in-cheek, but all of the judges ripped it into him about keeping Simone and about trying to give her this $5 million prize. Okay, that was just the highlight of the night for me. It was funny, it was fun, it was authentic, it was right on point, okay? Because if you watch my last commentary, you will see what I talked about. Go back and watch the end of my last commentary and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, thank you guys so much for giving me over 11,000 views on that commentary. I really appreciate it. And for all of you who commented and everything, I really, really appreciate it. Next up was Rachel Crow. She did a little mix, a little medley of Where Did Our Love Go and Baby by Diana Ross and Justin Bieber. Yeah, I wrote that this was a good idea and she sounded pretty good. But for me, she went between being like a little engaging and kind of interested in what was going on to being very bored. I mean, you know, I could see it in her eyes at points. She was just bored with what was going on. And in rehearsal, she was going along and doing some of the dancing, but during the performance she was just standing up there on, like, you know, a platform or whatever, and the dancers were doing their thing. And I think she was just kind of bored with that, maybe dissatisfied with the song choice or with the fact that she didn't get the choreography. Either way, I could just tell that she wasn't exactly happy at that time, you know, in the performance, but she still did a good job for me. She still sounded good and she gave a decent performance. Next up, Drew Weinowitz, which Simon says we now should just call one name Drew, did What a Feeling, Irene Cara. And you know, she was sitting down again, and I talked about last time where she was sitting down on the performance, and I don't know what it is. Maybe they don't like her wide-legged stance or whatever when she performs. I want to see her get up and move and walk. Outside of that, perfect performance. I mean, it was just very tender. She sounded beautiful. She just had so much going on, such a good connection with the audience. Just the song was slow and pretty, but it wasn't boring. It was very engaging for me. It wasn't dreary. It was very uplifting, and I liked all the differences that she brought to that, all the good things that she brought to that performance. It was very, very nice. Next up, Tia Tolliver did Sweet Dreams by Annie Lennox, and no doubt she's a good performer. Yes, she is. There was a lot of stuff going on stage, but she's not a good vocalist. She has a very big problem with her pitch, and even this song, they had stuff going on. They were kind of making it a little dissonant and everything. Still, she was off in so many places. The pitch is just not there. And Simon was complaining to the girl saying, oh, you just don't like her. You're never going to like her. You know, she worked so hard, you know, to bring it and to prove to you. But she didn't prove anything. All she proved to us was that she does not have good pitch. Yes, she's fierce. She's got, you know, a lot of drive, and, you know, she's got a lot of stage presence. But a singer has to have some type of pitch. She did not, just off all over the place with the vocals. And you know, if it was anybody else, I think that she would not have gotten this far. So I'm glad that she got this far. I'm glad she got this much exposure. I hope she continues to work on her vocals, on her pitch, because everything else is going to help you, but it's the vocals that are going to get you through, it's going to get you over. Melly Namaro was up last. She did I Have Nothing by Whitney Houston. Of course, a natural song choice, very predictable, but she blew it out of the water. It was a very challenging arrangement because she just kept going through all these key changes, and she was dead on every single time. Watch that performance, Tia, dead on with her pitch, perfect all the way through, and it was very challenging, all the key changes and everything. And she worked it out. She was looking to me like Mariah Carey. I'm sorry, in the performance, in the outfit that she had on, just that way her hair was done, so Mariah Carey, so Mariah Carey. But she just sounded great. She got a standing ovation from the whole crowd, from the whole audience, and from Simon. Simon had to eliminate his people next. And first person he said, Drew is a star, and he put her right through. Rachel was next, and Melanie was safe. Tia and Simone went home. The great thing about this ending of the show for me was Simone said Simone said, you know, yeah, tonight I'm gonna be dropping my music video. He likes boys, you know. And I was like, you better work, girl. Go head on. This was a great platform, and she did what she was supposed to do. She promoted herself, her next thing that's coming up, the next thing she's doing. Take note, people. Take note. She is going to be working. No matter what she does, she's going to be in the industry, and that is what it's all about. For me, as a performer, as a full-time performer, doing this over 20 years, it's about working, being out there, you know, getting in front of the crowd and doing what you're supposed to do. Promote, promote, promote. And I hope that a lot of people are going to go check her out. I'm actually going to check it out after I finish up everything here. She got over for that, though. You got in. You got in! What did you guys think of this show? Did you think it was exciting? Did you enjoy it? Did you love it? Did you like my antics here on this commentary? Check it out. I'm going to try to put some links to my So You Want to Be a Singer video, also to my originals playlist. Please check them out. Support your boy. I hope you're enjoying the commentary. If you are still with me, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I will see you next time. Peace.
I could sing the whole day long, it's not enough.